Kate. How are you today?
Hi, I'm a little nervous, but I'm okay.
My name's Andrew. I'm a physician assistant here. Are these your parents?
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you. Andrew, nice to meet you guys. I'm actually glad that you guys are here. It'll help when I go over some results with you today. So, Kate, you gave us a great family history on your last appointment regarding, you mentioned that you had your uncle had colorectal cancer, and I see here that your aunt passed from endometrial cancer. So we did the genetic testing for you on something called Lynch syndrome.
Lynch syndrome?
Have you guys ever heard of that?
No.
Okay, so basically Lynch syndrome is caused by a problem in a mutation repair gene.
Can you explain that a little?
Sure. So as we progress through our lives, our DNA gets damaged, and basically our normal DNA will repair that damaged DNA as we progress through.
Oh, okay, I get that.
So with Lynch syndrome, the gene that's responsible for repairing is actually damaged. So the DNA that does become damaged isn't working correctly, and it therefore just doesn't get repaired, is the end result, basically.
That's not good.
Unfortunately, that's not good, no.
Is that what Kate has?
So according to the genetic testing that we just ran, we do believe that the mutation that causes Lynch syndrome is something that Kate has.
How did Kate get the mutation?
So at this point, it's completely genetic. It's just something that you're born with, and there's nothing that you can do within your lifestyle or your habits, anything like eating or, just things throughout your daily life that can prevent this from happening.
Oh, well, how can she get rid of it then?
Sadly, there's actually nothing you can do to get rid of it with our current state of technology.
Is that what is causing my diarrhea and all those polyps found on my colonoscopy?
So the polyps that are found in your colonoscopy, we think that first of all, the diarrhea we think it's caused by the IBS that you were diagnosed with last year. And as far as the polyps go, I think I have here there's around 7 of them, and they were all benign. So I just want to stress that they're not cancerous at all. Okay. And so actually with Lynch syndrome, you're not going to see a ton of polyps, and we're looking for a certain kind of growth in Lynch syndrome called an adenoma, which you typically see on the right side of the colon.
And I don't have one of those, right?
Nope, you don't. So with Lynch syndrome, we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So we want to make sure you have a lot of follow-up appointments in the future to prevent us missing anything or anything like that. So I really want to stress that you should follow up with your gynecologist, and they'll screen you for endometrial cancer. And I want you to do that every year from now on.
Okay. I mean, that sucks, but if that's what I have to do, I'll do that. Okay.
Yeah, so Lynch syndrome is a very serious condition, but I just want to stress that it's not a death sentence.
So I won't die like my aunt?
So we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that doesn't happen, but every case is different, so we don't actually know the progression of the disease.
Honey, your aunt didn't know she had this, so, I mean, at least you're catching it early on and we can do something about it.
Yeah, that actually brings me to our next point, ma'am. I think that it's a good idea for you to get tested today as well.
Oh.
That's okay with you?
You think I have it too?
Yeah, so I'm looking at your family tree here, and I think that there's a high probability that you also have the genetic mutation, and you may have passed it down to your daughter.
Well, I gave this to Kate?
Yeah, it's likely that she inherited it from you, correct?
Oh no.
Don't get upset, honey. There's no way you could have known it. It probably just skipped a generation, right?
I actually don't believe so. So with this type of mutation, it usually happens in every single generation. Now, that doesn't mean that every person that has the mutation will necessarily show signs of cancer or Lynch disease in general. So just like neither of you two have cancer at this point, I think it's likely that both of you have the mutation since it is so closely linked to from mother to daughter or mother to son.
Oh, well, okay, I was not expecting this at all, but I will definitely get tested and we'll figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, well, what about our son? Should he get tested as well?
Yeah, so I mentioned it's mother to daughter, mother to son. I believe that your son should also get tested as well.
Is there anything else that I need to do?
Not right now. So at this moment, I know this is a lot to take in. It's very hard for everybody, respectively. But having this knowledge will help us going forward and moving forward with our plan and trying to prevent any problems in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I know now and not later when it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're really going to try to stay on top of this, guys. I'll be in touch soon once I found a little bit more information to give you guys. But for right now, are there any other questions that you have for me?
Not right now. I'm just kind of letting it all sink in, I guess.
Right.
Oh, can I have some like reading material or something when we let this all sink in?
Sure. Let me see here. Yeah, I actually have a pamphlet here. So this is from the Lynch Syndrome International, and it's basically something that'll give you a little bit more information. You can read up on what Lynch syndrome is, how you get it, things like that. And feel free to share that with anybody you need to.
Yeah, I feel like it might be really good to share this with my family since you're saying it's something we're passing
Absolutely.
on. So
Right. So if there's nothing else from you guys, feel free to call with any questions. I'll be here to reach out. I'll keep in touch with you guys, and I'm just really glad that we could get everything set straight today. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
This guy, I like him.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Go bring the car around.